What's going on, people? Welcome to Live Palace News. We are here. It is Thursday, the 25th of July. As you can see from the title, here we go. A deal has been agreed in principle for Ismaila Sarr. But trust me, and I mean this, trust me, it is not only that. Today, we genuinely have a very, very busy show, from players coming in to players going out to players rejecting moves. And in fact, we're going to end the show with an update on John Textor, with the amount of investors that are potentially interested in buying Palace revealed as well. So it is a busy show. We do want you to get involved. Let us know in the live comment section and in the comment section down below your thoughts as we go through them. And as always, hit the like button, people, as Sarr is about to come in. Thanks to every single one of you that does that throughout the shows. We're very close to 5,000 subscribers. I'm joined by T and Patrick. Patrick's made a rare appearance. I mean, this is the same guy. He says, I don't do no rumors or any of that. And he literally got on to me for apparently not inviting him on. Patrick, how you doing? You're like a rare Pokemon.
T, how are you? You right? How you doing, T? All right?
I'm good, bro. It's good to see you, man.
T, great to see you, man. Always good to see you, bro.
Always a pleasure.
Always, man. Same.
Why am I getting ignored? Well, I don't understand why I'm getting ignored.
Because you're misrepresenting what went on just now. I asked to come on the show. All right. You said you gave me like about 10 reasons not to come on the show. All I said was I like to come on to shows when deals are agreed. You put in the thumbnail, Ismaila Sarr, here we go, deal agreed. So I want to talk about Sarr. That's it. I mean, okay. I don't see what the problem is. Is there a problem?
I'm only here for Ismaila.
No, there's no issue. I just wanted to make sure that you know that today, funny enough, we don't actually have that much time. That's the annoying thing about today. And second of all, if you just wanted to talk about Sarr, we're going to have a live reaction as well. So I just wanted to make sure that we're on the same page about everything. Because you've seen the running order. It's actually a busy show. It is a busy show today. You have to... there's quite a bit to talk about, but what's going on to the chat? I'm pretty sure when we have the reaction, AJ will come on as well. There's a lot of people that were already sending your thoughts and comments right beforehand. If you have any questions, put a Q&A dot before it. Let me just see if there's any questions I missed out. No, there isn't any questions as we start the show. Let's start off with Sarr. Finally, it seems like we have got there to the dreamland of signing Sarr. After, you can make the argument after 4, 5, or 6 years, depending on how long you've been following the Ismaila Sarr rumors. But according to David Ornstein and Fabrizio Romano, Crystal Palace have reached an agreement in principle with Marseille to sign Ismaila Sarr after the 50 million euro proposal was accepted. Personal terms are in place, as we have mentioned a few days ago on Palace News, with the winger to undergo a medical before completing the proposed move. The medical is expected to be completed tomorrow, which is good. The announcement, I'm not too sure when we will do that. So hopefully sooner rather than later, because, I mean, he's already been spoken about and pre-seasons started a while ago. So I don't think we have to delay the announcement. But maybe the Crawley game will be a bit too soon for him, which is understandable. Most importantly, he's going to the American tour, around 12.7 million pound deal. Gents, we've got there in the end. Patrick, I'll start off with you as I've never seen you this excited before. I've never actually seen you message me to come on.
No, it's not excitement. I just wanted to have my opinion. I'm not excited about it. I just want to have my opinion on it. That's all.
Yeah, let's start off with you then. What's your opinion? What's your thoughts?
Well, I think it's a good deal financially. Obviously, I don't think the money, the 13 or whatever, 13.7, whatever the euros are, is not a big deal. I like the fact that he can play different positions. He can play, left wing, attacking mid, striker, right wing. He's not a right wing back, but we could talk about that another time. I'm no concerned that we've been chasing this guy for like 5 years. It wasn't like Glasgow wanted him 5 years ago. They're giving after him for 5 years. But that was when he was worth like 40 million. So I got to give Dougie credit, being patient, getting the player they really wanted. So I like the fact we add him to the squad. I think he'll add some flexibility to the squad. If he pushes that IU, so be it. I'm a big IU fan, but if he pushes that IU, I'm not that bothered by it. But I think overall it's a decent deal. So we're there.
Yeah, it is a deal that's been coming for years, as we can say. But finally, under Glasner, Which T, I mean, when you look at the manager, I think it is quite important, the manager, when it comes down to Sarr, because with him, I think there's a player and a half there, but it's about getting it more out of him. Consistency, I think, has been maybe one of his issues. Like, we see glimpses of like amazing goals, amazing skills, but it's about doing that week out. But T, I mean, we've been here talking about Sarr. It seems like that now is going to finally be concluded after this. Hopefully, the next time we talk about him is when we do a live reaction, just focusing on Sarr. But for you, T, the figures involved, the 5-year deal, are you all impressed?
Yeah, I think it's good business overall. And now we've seen 2 attacking players come to the fold that can contribute for us now. One being a Premier League experienced guy who's only 26, another one being a European experienced player who's only 27. So we've got, I think, some players that are in good positions for us. Positional versatility is huge. Of course, the money spent overall is fantastic as well. I think it's a really solid signing. Just crazy that it took this long for us to land Sarr, but going to support the move, support the player for sure. So.
Yeah, as I said, there's a lot to talk about today, but just quickly, in terms of signing another forward, we'll talk about it more in the Sarr reaction when it actually gets officially announced. We'll be here talking about it. But do we think that we still needed another player? Are we seeing this as like an Elise replacement or Jordan Ayew? And the reason why I'm asking that is I think this is more of a Jordan Ayew replacement rather than Elise. I'd be worried if Sarr was our Elise replacement unless something drastically happens in his game. But for you two, I'll start off with you, Patrick. How do you see this signing impacting our further potential signings?
I think it's more of the depth option. So I think that from that standpoint, you really can't go wrong with a player that's so versatile. Elise replacement, to me, that player will have to be a left-footed player. I only say that from a balance standpoint. You've got Eze, you've got Kamada, you've got now Ayew, and you've got Sarr. They're all right-footed players. Even França. If you put him on the right side, he can play there, but he wouldn't give you that balance that you want to have with an attacking 3. So for me, the Elise replacement has to be a left-footed player. But having said that, his numbers in the Premier League, take out last year with Elise, his numbers are very similar to Elise as far as Premier League. It's like 5 goals, 5 assists. If you look back and historically, take out last year for Elise was averaging like 5 goals and like 6 assists. That's what he did. And Sarr can do exactly the same thing. So from that standpoint, it's similar, but he's not going to be Elise replacement because there has to be a more attacking, left-footed 10/winger type player for me.
Yeah, because I mean, we spoke about it. I know you don't think, Patrick, that he can play as a wing back. I'm not fully convinced either, but I think he could be an option. There. It depends on how Glasner's season. Go on.
I actually want to talk about that. I know you're going to get onto it later on, but not signing Sessegnon and not having a right wing back option means that the club has to address that. I'm not having Sarr, Ayew as a right wing back option, or even Klein. We have to at some point seriously address a backup for Mitchell and a backup for Munoz. Not because they won't play a lot, because they will, but there are going to be times when, again, we saw it last year with Mitchell, he just gets too tired. And not having a legitimate backup. And yeah, I know Klein can play there. I know Ward can play there. But we have to address that seriously. And I don't think Sarr, honestly, I wouldn't be comfortable having Sarr as a wing back option to Munoz. Like T mentioned before in previous shows, he's done it once his whole career. Once. That's not a wing back. That's a winger.
Yep. And the thing about it for me, Patrick, piggybacking off of that really quickly is the fact that I think anytime you're talking about having solid depth, you always want to be in a position where you are choosing not to play a guy rather than being forced to not play him. In the past, I think when it comes to Mitchell, we've been forced to not play him because he's gotten injured. And a lot of times it's because he's being overworked. Let's be honest. In the game of football, being overworked is a real thing. I mean, the Premier League season alone is almost 40 matches. And if he's playing every single one, that's a lot of wear and tear on one guy. And same thing for Munoz going into next year right now, because there's really no backup for him. I mean, honestly, after this move for Sarr coming through, my priority would be bolstering the wingback positions, not bringing in another 10.
Look, we're going to be talking about Sarr more when it's announced. I'm going to save the rest for that. That's like a little spoiler into what the type of topics we'll be talking about when he's officially announced. We'll just do a Sarr dedicated show. Today, if there wasn't anything else, I would say let's talk about Sarr for the next half an hour, 40 minutes. But unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you view things, there's a lot more to talk about, which we do have to get through. So save your star comments, and if you want, leave it in the comment section down below. But we'll be talking about more in depth about the figures, about the position, about all of the other stuff in more detail. But today, I mean, before Sarr, it started off in a negative or positive note, depending on how you see it, because Emile Smith-Rowe and Sessegnon are both not coming to Palace. They are both going to Fulham. And we'll start off with Emile Smith-Rowe. The report has said the following from David Ornstein, which got posted late last night in the UK. Fulham are close to triggering a agreement with Arsenal to sign Smith-Rowe. Talk over move worth up to £35 million. So Emile Smith-Rowe is going to Arsenal. And we've also got Sessegnon. Fulham have agreed a deal to sign Ryan Sessegnon as a free agent. Here we go. And that is coming from Fabrizio Romano. After training with Palace for weeks, former Spurs left back will join Fulham. Agreement in place as Fulham beat competition from several Premier League clubs to sign Sessegnon. However, I do want to add this. Alan Nixon has said that Glasner didn't want him. And then also to that, to show the other side of the story, Graham Bailey has said that Palace have lined up a deal and was due to go on tour with Sessegnon in their team, but he's now returning to Craven Cottage. So Graham Bailey saying that we did line up a deal. Alan Nixon saying that Glasner didn't want him. So there's contrast and reports out there. But gents, I mean, let's combine both the players together. Let's start with Smith-Rowe, as I mentioned him first. £35 million. Patrick, I know that in our chat you're talking about you're not as keen due to his price tag. For me, I was, because I know the potential that he's got as long as he passes medicals. But that's another player that's kind of gone out the window. And for me, behind Sarr, we still need another forward. But for you, Smith-Rowe, are you happy that that hasn't gone through?
I am, because of the price tag. I 100% rate the kid. I think he's a very good player. He's a local kid. I get all that. But $35 million for a player of, again, another right-footed. I just didn't see it being a good fit. And my biggest fear was he's automatically going to be the Eze replacement, and we just be buying him and getting rid of Eze to go to Arsenal. So I wasn't for that. Again, I'm not saying he's not a good player. I think he's a very good player. Injury record, a little bit worrisome too, but not the biggest issue. But for me, our biggest ever signings have been Benteke at like about 30 and Sacco at about 25. I could not see Palace paying $35 million. Sorry, £35 million, sorry, for Emile Smith-Rowe. Again, he's a good player. To me, there's a big English and Arsenal tax on that player. Good luck to him at Fulham. I think he'll do well, but I couldn't see the money. So for me, from my standpoint, to me, just too much. If he was, like I mentioned before in our chats, 20, 25, maybe I might think about him, but for the money, just way too much for me personally.
I do think we'll see what happens with Fulham, but I do think that we do need to sign another player behind Sarr. I still think that. I think there needs to be a bit more of like a potential promising signing, and I think the only player that's been left on the list is basically, correct me if I'm wrong, T, it is Edwards. Everyone else, as I've done on my solo stream yesterday, was pretty much gone. It was between Smith-Rowe and Edwards out of all the names that's been mentioned. But for you, T, now that Smith-Rowe ain't happening, just your thoughts on the situation, because you also wasn't that keen.
I mean, I pretty much echo exactly what Patrick said there. Like, I really liked Emile Smith-Rowe as a player. Let's get that correct. I mean, there is the stumbling block of the injuries, but once a guy's healthy, you hopefully don't want to hold that kind of stuff against him. That price tag was very steep. If we were going to get to that 30 million mark, I hope it would have been with add-ons. But maybe that 35 was just a step too far, and respect to Fulham for putting it out there and wanting to get their guy. I can't be mad at us for not making that move. I mean, that's a significant amount of money. I don't know personally. I don't think they're, especially with us now confirming Sarr. I don't see us doing another 10. I just don't see it because it's just it muddies up the position too much. It's just too many guys. If you bring in another player to play over there, I think that young and upcoming guy that we're speaking about that can step into that role is Jez. And
why is he not playing at the football club?
Because he needs a year of experience. So you send him out on loan this year, and then he comes back next year ready to step in and take over that role potentially.
I think we need another player. I'm sorry, but I do
because
think we need another player. I know what you're talking about with Sarr playing down the right hand side, but Sarr could be used potentially as like a. I know we're saying he isn't, but he could be used potentially as a wing back option, and that solves that problem. He can be used up front as a wing back option. I think Sarr is more of like an IU type of player. I think we need someone else behind Kamada. I'll be honest, I don't think Sarr is that creative player that could unlock low blocks, etc. I think he's got pace. I think there is that uniqueness to his game, but I do think we do need another type of creative player behind Kamada to unlock it. I personally, I'm saying this now, I would not be happy if you just signed Sarr as that forward option behind Kamada. I don't think that's good enough for us.
Well, I would say be prepared to be unhappy because I don't see us making that move.
Then why
I'm just saying, I don't see it.
You know what?
Patrick, we have to sign someone else. That for me, that's not good enough.
You know what?
I don't think that's good enough.
Just think about. I know that when he was at Frankfurt, he used 2 right-footed players as his number 10.
Yep, Jesper Lindstrom was one of them.
Right, exactly. So my thing is, if he uses, how do you say it? The Kamada or Kamada? How do you say it?
Huh?
How do you say his name? Kamada or Kamada? How do you say it?
Kamada.
All right. So if you use Kamada and Sarr on the right side and Eze and France on the left side, you don't need another player. You don't.
And that's kind of my thinking with that. That's kind of my thinking.
With that Sarr option, I just think I don't think it's good enough.
That's a Premier League experienced player, man.
Right. I'm only saying that again.
I think there's a ceiling to his game. I don't think Sarr's that player. I would like to have more of a younger player with a higher potential upside. I think Sarr's got he's got something to prove and he has got potential. But I think the players that we've been linked with, from Sarr to Philogene to Smith Rowe to Edwards, to only end up with Sarr, that's not gonna make me clap my hands and say, oh, well done, the recruitment team. I don't think that's good enough. I don't.
I get it, but I'm just saying that you've got 2 and 2. You've already got a starter and a backup. Yes, Kamada can go inside and play attacking midfield or play in there with Wharton or with Decore, whatever. But I'm just saying right now you have 2 on one side, 2 on the other. I agree. I would like to see another player, but if he can be a right-footed player, I wouldn't. I want him. He has to be a left-footed player to give that balance. So I know what you're saying, but I honestly would not be that upset if we didn't, because as T mentioned before, I'd rather get a left wing back, right wing back, and another striker as opposed to getting another player to go on in that.
All three of those positions trump that for me right now. I mean, even with the fact that we still have Eddie, like I think when the time comes, I think he'll probably be moved on at some point. So for me, those 3 positions are all going to be priority positions over that position at this point.
I don't know. Let's see. But I think Sarr is more of like a versatile player that could do a role in about few jobs. But I've even seen someone say this as well, and we'll see. But there's people saying is some people would rather keep Ayew than have Sarr at the team. I think that's the level of conversation we're at right now with Ismaila Sarr. And I don't. That's not crazy. I don't think that's crazy. Unless one of you think that's crazy to have that conversation right now.
No.
I think Sarr's younger. He's got pace on his side. So I think there are advantages to Ismaila Sarr. But let's not act like... Well, I'm not going to act like Sarr's going to come in and he's 10 times the player that Jordan Ayew is. Because, I mean, he's played in the Premier League before. He's played in the Premier League before. He's played in the Championship before. He's had some very good moments. In fact, he's had some very good spells. But the problem with him is he hasn't been consistent enough. And for me, if we're selling Elise and we're going with developing younger model type of players, I don't think Kamada doesn't fit that category. And also, I don't think Sarr fits that category. I think Sarr's 26 years old. I think he can improve still. But I don't think we will be able to improve him to the extent that we sell Sarr for 30 to 40 million pounds, for example. I just don't see that realistically happening. I think Sarr is more of an Ayew type of replacement. So for me, I think we're still missing that younger player that we lost in Elise with that higher potential upside. And the names that's been mentioned have been very creative players, have been very exciting players that I could see have a future at Crystal Palace and develop. But with Kamada and Sarr, I think Kamada's a fantastic signing, by the way, and I think he's going to be the regular starter. I just think that right-hand side is, Kamada I have no problem with. Just Sarr, as good as he can be, I feel like still another player that Sarr can do that striker, number 10, whatever he can, as more of a versatile player rather than sticking to one position. I just that's me. There's no point in me lying. That's just my thoughts on the Sarr situation. I just don't have enough trust in him at this current moment of time.
D&T, hear me out though. I'm not saying this is what anybody at the club is thinking, but let's just say that they believe Jez is ready, but not this year. He's ready next year. They want to send him out on loan for a year, whether it's a lower Premier League. I don't agree with that. That's dumb. Either keep him or send him a top championship side. He come back next year, and that spot next year is for him. So why would you spend 20 million on a player that's going to block his path to the? I'm not saying, I would rather, if they were thinking that way, they kept that spot open. Use Ayew, Sarr, Kamada there, because they're all very competent of doing that for a year or more, and have Jez be that player next year if he's not ready this year. That would make me think, you know what? They have an actual plan to have a pathway, as opposed to buying an Edwards and then blocking his path. If you buy anybody for that position, Jez is done here.
Right.
I get where you're coming from. I think that's the only explanation that I can agree with.
And that's the one that I truly believe is the situation, to be honest.
When we're talking about Sarr versus Jez, is Jez that far off in terms of having impact in comparison to Sarr? Like, well, I mean,
we don't know if he's not prepared. He's not ready yet. He hasn't had.
But then we have a Premier League club that's coming over to us and offering around similar figures to Sarr, saying that we want Jez Saki. In fact, we spoke about the reports about his head potentially turning. As I said before, ain't this the perfect opportunity for Jez to have that go behind Kamada, not even as a striker? Why?
No, not necessarily, because you want to get him. You want to get him in a situation where he's playing week in and week out. He has the potential to play somewhere on a high level loan, and he's going to be starting majority of the matches. If you go to the championship, he's going to have a chance to play in 40 some odd matches and start. You want that game time for him. You want that development for him. I think playing behind somebody like that, it'll help him, it'll develop, but it's not quote unquote the fast track that we may want. A 1 year in the championship at a high level like that could make him ready to step into a role next year. And we got to understand, next year is a year when you stand to lose an Eberechi Eze. At that point, Kamada then moves over to the left side, and now you have Sarr and Jez working the right side. So Jez is that young guy that we're talking about, that young guy with a high ceiling that could step in and take over that role. And in this situation, no, we're not going out and paying a whole bunch of money for him to come in. He's already a part of our team.
I don't think Jez that far off, though. I think you could have easily
exactly. If he's not that far off, then in 1 year with a lot of experience, he's going to be ready to go.
I think he could have had that experience this year, team, because we're talking about having depth, because Glasnow's going to be rotating the team anyway.
He's going to be a bit part, though. He's going to be a bit part player. Like if I have the opportunity to give you 30 plus starts compared to a handful of starts and some appearances.
Someone trying to lock up what you're trying to say.
Construction. It's construction outside. But it's like, I don't know. I'm going to take the opportunity for him to get all of those starts, all of that experience, and then come back, rather than just giving him that little bit of bit part experience and then try to throw him in there.
And let's not forget, we paid what, 20 million for France last year. If France isn't ready for next year, forget this year, then that's a waste of money. So you can look at that next year, possibly having Jez on one side and France on the other side, with people like Kamada and Sarr backing them up. I'll take that all day. If they're ready, you know what I'm saying? I'll take it all day. So, but again, there has to be a pathway for players like France. You can't spend that money for that kid, but Emile has not played a full season at any level in England or in Brazil at all. Or no one's even talking about that kid. No one even talks about him. So he's got to play more this year, and then obviously next year. So we'll see. I think
France is set in stone in terms of the left-hand side. Like, I think it'll be him that comes behind Eze. So I think France will have that development path. But for me, I would have. I don't know. I wouldn't have minded giving Raksaki that number 2 down the right hand side. But I mean, let's see. I think that's the only explanation to not sign another number 10, which I guess I can't talk back on if we're going to give Rak-Saki a go next year. But ideally, I would have liked another number 10. I just wouldn't have just liked for it to be Sarr. I would have seen Sarr as more of an IU type of replacement.
You know what? You mentioned about França. If he can't play on the left side, let's say, pray to God, Eze does not so and he plays all season again at 38 matches. França is going to have to play. If he can't play on the left side, you can put him on the right side. Now you've got Sarr, Kamara, and França rotating on that side. You don't need another player. My point is, you've got enough players to play as those 2 number 10s. You don't need another guy. You don't. Because the playing time's not going to be there for that next player. If he comes in, França gets dropped down big time, and even Sarr, Sarr can probably play strikers, or Sarr won't be affected, and Kamara can play midfield. But I'm telling you right now, another player that comes in and Eze stays, França will not play the season.
Okay, and part of it too, you got to be able to attract the guy. You got to be able to make it attractive for somebody to want to come.
If this is the case, I do want to say, I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear Klein and Ward be mentioned as a right wing backup option to Munoz. I want that money. We got money from Elise. We spent about 26 million with Riyad and Sarr.
Yep.
I want another right wing back and another left wing back.
And that's why I think we need. That's why I think we need to prioritize that position.
As an option back commander, we have to sign another right wing back and a left wing back. Like that needs to be sorted if we're just trying to improve depth. And also, yeah, that's it basically. The right wing back and another left wing back, because I thought we would need another number 10. And we got money. We should have money in the bank. We made that money from Elise. So let's actually spend it and improve the position that we need. Because talking about that, let's move on to the next bit of player that was mentioned, and that's Sessegnon, who's actually gone to Fulham. I mean, let's believe the reports that Glasner didn't want him. He had this month trial. Still a bit of a shock for us, well, for me anyways, because I was expecting Sessegnon to be done and sealed before the US tour. We do need another left wing back. It's the question of now, who is that going to be? I mean, we've basically been talking about Sessegnon for the majority of the time. For you, are you surprised by this move about Sessegnon going to Fulham?
I would definitely say when I first saw it, I was surprised for sure. Especially because he had been with us for all that time, and it seemed like it was pretty positive. The thing that I take with a grain of salt, and I don't know if I necessarily believe or not, is the whole Glasner didn't want him thing. I think that would have been a lot more convincing if that came out before he decided to sign with Fulham. But hearing it afterwards makes it seem like it's just trying to save face and PR type stuff. Especially because, then you hear from Graham Bailey, they had a contract set up for him. He was going to go on the U.S. tour. It's like, if he's going to go on the U.S. tour with us, obviously we like him. Like, come on now. I think, if anything...
It depends on who you actually believe. Because Fabrizio Romano as well, in his last sentence when he put out that tweet, he did say agreement in place as Fulham beat competition from several Premier League clubs to sign Sessegnon. So yeah,
I mean that's what I'm saying. Naturally, he's a free agent, so a lot of people are interested in him. So, it sounds like we were dragging our feet. Is what it sounds like.
That's what I thought initially as well. But
it sounds like we were dragging our feet, and now we're trying to save face by somebody like Alan Nixon who says, "Oh, he didn't want him." Come on now, because when he first came, the thing was like, "Oh, Glasner really wants him. He really liked him from his time at Hoffenheim." It's like, what are we really talking about?
So you don't think? So you think we kind of lost this deal rather than Glasner?
Yeah, I think we drug our feet on it a little bit, and naturally he's a free agent, getting attention from a lot of teams, and somebody familiar comes in. It's the game. It's how it works, man.
So what happens now? Because I literally spoke about the left wing back, right wing back position. Does Teo get a chance? He's been rumored to leave the club. Patrick, would you like to see him get an opportunity?
100%. 100%. He's been out on loan. He's like he's never been out on loan. They haven't been great loans. He's been out on loan. He seems physically able to play the position. If he's fit, I'd have absolutely no problem having Teo as a backup and giving him at least 10, 15 matches. So
I'm not laughing at you, Patrick, by the way. I'm not laughing at you. Just laughed at
what happened?
What is something in the chat, probably?
Yeah. I mean, again, if we're not going to spend the money, I tweeted out that I don't use Twitter that much, but I tweeted out that listen, if we're going to use our youngsters as left and right wing back options, let's say, an Imre and Teo, I'd be all for that because they're not going to play that much anyway, but they're getting experience training every day with the first team, getting some cup games and maybe late in some game, maybe some games that we're, hopefully winning or games that we comfortable with, maybe a midweek game that we have like a Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, and throw them in there. But yeah, I'd love that. It's not going to happen, but I'd have no problem having Teo do it. Why not? Why not? At this point, why not?
Yeah, because you're not asking the world of them. You're not asking them to make a ton of appearances. Exactly. I mean, we know how much of a workhorse Ty is, and we know how much of a workhorse Munoz has shown to be already. So we're just looking to give them breaks in a lot of situations.
And I'll say it again. One more thing. Our last two fullbacks have gotten chances because of injury. Wan-Bissaka, Mitchell only got a chance because of injury. So God forbid Mitchell got injured or Munich got injured. Though we're kidding it might work because we don't have a real pathway. Our pathway is, someone's injured, we're desperate. Let's promote Wan-Bissaka. Someone's injured, let's promote Tyreek Mitchell. So yeah, give Teo and Emre a chance. It's not going to happen, but for me, they did that. I would have no problem with them being back. I'd be very comfortable with them being back out, both of them. I really would.
Yeah, well, I thought Emre would have that backup option, but he was going Bromley. Has he actually gone Bromley yet?
No, not yet. Nothing's official.
No.
Oh, interesting.
And the thing about it is, yes, Bromley's interested. We don't know if he's going to go there though either, too.
I mean, he didn't come on against Ozo. Came out right wing back against Charlton, so I don't think he's in a picture.
Emre wasn't even in the team.
Yeah,
he wasn't even in the team for that.
We don't know about.
No, he didn't. They were all playing in that. The 21s had a game.
21s had a match.
Yeah, all of those guys were in that. They have a game tomorrow too. So yeah.
And then on the left side, the only other person I've heard anything about was Archie Brown from over in Belgium. That was the only other.
Yeah, that's the only ability. That's the only player. I don't know how much it'll cost, but as I said, if we got the money, we might as well. We just have to spend it now.
And when I was reading, it was the money was in line with what we paid for Munoz actually.
That's not bad. Look how Munoz turned out.
Like, I mean, if you can get a guy at that age, he's only 22, I think.
Yeah, like still young.
Like that's like you get him for less than 15 million pounds. That's good business.
Hopefully we see a bit more updates about it because moving on to the next bit of report, it came out yesterday, which was a bit surprising from the Mirror that Manchester United are stepping up their search for a new left back with 3 targets for the position, including one of them being Tyreek Mitchell. However, Matt Woosnam has said that Tyreek Mitchell is not entering the last year of his contract, as we've all feared. Apparently, he has three years remaining on his contract, contrary to reports. I mean, I'm not worried about losing Mitchell. I don't think we'll lose Mitchell. But I was a bit worried at the start when we first saw that rumor because of the contract situation, as we thought it might be only a year left on his contract. But yeah, he was mentioned to be rumored to be leaving it. We need to keep Mitchell. We just need a backup for him. Patrick, he was nodding your head, so.
Yeah, because, I mean, United bought Wilfried Zaha from us, didn't work out, and Wan-Bissaka really didn't work out. They're not going to buy Tyreek Mitchell from us. It's never going to happen.
The backup option is not.
They have Shaw and they have Malacia.
Yeah, but Malacia, that's what they're trying to replace.
Yeah, Malacia he's got a long-term injury he's dealing with.
I think Mitchell would have been nice for that. I think that would have been
backup.
Nice
England's starting left backs. He can go there and not play because if Shaw's not injured,
I think Mitchell can push Shaw because Shaw's always injured anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's a reach. That's a reach, but again, that's a.
He's going. Shaw's injury record speaks for itself.
No, I said that's a reach though. For me to him to go United is a big reach. The link doesn't make as much sense as the other club. It doesn't make it. If you said somewhere else, I would say it makes more sense. United makes again because of history with us. Plus they have 2 left backs. Yes, Malacia is injured and so is Shaw, but I can't see Tyreek wanting to go to United and play behind. Even if Shaw's not fit, 100%. When he's fit, he's going to play over Tyreek. He's just going to. You know what I mean? So I don't really see the point. But again, I'm not Tyreek Mitchell. I don't know it. But to me, Again, you're the rumor guy, so you must like that one. So, yeah.
Well, that's what we do here. We come up with the latest Lesbian news. And
Palace news, baby. I love it. Palace news, baby. I love Palace
news.
Exactly.
It's Palace news. Exactly. So, yeah, literally, that's why I'm just covering it right now. Let's move on to the next bit of news, and that is on Mohamed Bamba, who is not the Leighton Orient. I was about to say Leighton Orient. Lauren striker is one of the Palace's main objectives this summer. The Ivorian has other suitors, including Getafe, that is according to Marca newspaper. He's only 22 years old. I didn't hear about him till today. I don't know if you have. The Ivorian striker, Mohamed Bamba.
Never heard of. I've heard of Mo Bamba, but not this one.
Yeah,
Not this
as soon as we were linked with him, I was listening to Mo Bamba. I was like, at least we could get that chart going if he was to sign it.
That hey, if they played that song after he scored a goal, Sellhorst will go crazy. Let's just be honest. But no, I've never heard of this dude before. And apparently he's played decently for Lorient, even though they got relegated. And he only played, I think they just got him in January. So he's hasn't been there very long either.
Yeah, exactly. But it's the first time he's been mentioned. I mean, the fee fits what we want as well, around 5 to 10 million. So, I mean, let's see if there's any other updates on this. First time he's been mentioned. And the reason why I do want to move on from this and not spend a lot of time is because the other day I didn't mention about John Textor. What is going on with that situation, because it's gone a bit quiet. And today, Ed Aarons has actually released an update on that. And he says the following. He says that understand that there are 14 investors who have indicated an interest in buying John Textor's shares in Crystal Palace. Unclear at this stage whether it's 40% will be sold to one or more of them, which is, I think, quite significant. And also, Textor understood to be close to buying more than 80% of another English club. So, gents, let's start off. Let's break this down with 14 investors interested in buying John Textor's shares. For me, I really want to know the names. Because 14 is quite of a healthy amount. And also, 40% of his shares, we don't know if he'll be sold to one person or multiple people. I mean, what do we feel about this news? I think that is quite significant as well, because ideally, we would, well, me anyways, in my opinion, I would like that 40% to be sold on to someone who has the net worth, who has the ability to buy out others if they wanted to. I don't want loads of people dealing in a football club. I think it gets a bit complicated, especially with Parish, Blitzer, and Harris. But Patrick, Textor, 14 investors. Don't know who will be sold to. What do you think of that report?
Listen, I've never had a problem with Textor, but as soon as this is taken care of, as far as resolved, the better. I don't need to know the 14 people. One of them step up, buy the 40%, and let's move on. But what I will say is, as Simon Jordan said, be careful what you wish for. So this new person might not be better than the person we have currently involved. So again, I want it to be over because I'm just tired of hearing the whole Textor stories and the negativity around it. But I'm just saying that just be careful who that person might be, because he might not be as good as people think. But as soon as this is done, the better. But again, wherever they are, let them step up, put the money up, and let's go. But like I said, just be careful who it is, because you know what? Might not be as great as people think.
Yeah, I mean, Geick is saying Blitz and Co could be well included in the 14.
Great point.
I think is a very good point as well.
Yep,
but T, ideally, would you want a split of shares? Would you want multiple people buying that 40%, or would you rather one person buying it?
Oh, it's tough. It's tough because the thing about if it is multiple people that buy it, I think it's less of a power dynamic that comes into play compared to one person that comes in with 40% and then they're in that position where they're almost the majority or want to be the majority, compared to multiple minority people that are like, hey, we don't want power. That's not what we're interested in here. We're interested in investment, not in trying to run the club, which seemed to be the problem that we were having with Textor. Textor wanted more and he couldn't get it. So I don't know, man. It's tough.
I have a question for both of you. What are the chances of someone coming in at 40% and saying, you know what, Steve Parish, go ahead, do what you want to do with my money? What do you think that's the chance of that going to be? It's not going to happen.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see that happening. Like, right. I think if somebody wants to come in and be the sole person that buys that share, they're gonna want the whole thing. Like they're gonna be saying, hey, how can I get all of this? How can I get the majority? What do I need to do to get the majority? Who do I need to buy from to get the majority?
Not even that, T, but they're just going to want to have a 40% stake, meaning they want a 40% stake in everything that goes on, on the stadium,
like
on the players, on that. Exactly.
Right. Who am I to own 40% and I'm taking and the dude that owns 10 is calling shots? That's not what I'm in it for. Like, I want mine. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't know if one person coming in and buying everything is the solution to it, because you're gonna want to have one person's coming in like, no, man, like I want mine. Like, don't nobody got as much as I do. I want mine. Compared to maybe multiple people saying, hey, you know, let us get our little thing. Let us be minority investors. We will give you the money, but we don't want to run anything. You know, do as y'all want to keep your things the way they are. You know, like it's kind of like pros and cons to each thing, I feel like.
I just want to see names. But yeah, that also interesting that apparently an 80% agreement, was it 80%? Yeah, 80% agreement. Well, he's close, not agreement. He's close to buying 80% of another English club. I wonder if that's Everton.
See, that's what somebody wants. Like somebody wants to come in and buy that. They want to be the guy. You know what I'm saying?
I heard it was Sheffield United, by the way, not Everton.
What was that?
Sheffield United, I heard it was, not Everton. He's out of Everton.
Sheffield United?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah,
because I was looking at the comments to see if he replied to anyone, but people saying
which makes sense, Patrick, because it's like if you can't get that controlling interest in a current Premier League team like he was trying to do, it's like, why don't you get one that you know is on the verge of coming right back to the Premier League?
Exactly, and give that a
shot, then just building them up and dumping money in.
Yeah,
Sheffield United, interesting. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. Let's go through some of the questions, people. If you're enjoying the stream, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And yeah, we can't spend too much time on the questions, but I'm pretty sure we'll be back tomorrow anyway. So if you have any questions, try save them for tomorrow. I'll be surprised if there's
write it down on a piece of paper
from here onwards, because there better be. We still need more signings, in my opinion. John saying, with Sessegnon now going to Fulham, do you think we need to prioritize a new left wing back option ASAP? We answer that yes.
Moving on.
Exactly. Yes, we do. Ollie saying, what do you think about Fulham hijacking Sessegnon? We've already spoke about that. Surprise.
Should have moved our feet. Moving on.
The game is the game. The game is the game.
Ash saying, what's your favorite Palace-related transfer moments? My top 3: Batshuayi, first link, Euro 2016 Kabay, and Elise re-signing. For me, Elise re-signing was the biggest moment for me. I think that was
I would say so. Although the Batshuayi announcement did have me super hyped. I can't.
Yeah. Lie. How was your flight? That was as well. Yeah, in a Batshuayi announcement.
But that was me wanting him to like be the striker of the future, also.
Yeah. And now he went Beşiktaş, Fenerbahçe, Galatasaray.
He's on that Turkish tour, baby.
Galatasaray, baby. Let's go. Galatasaray, baby. Let's go.
It's Wilfried Zaha. Basically, the European graveyard. That's where they're at. Let's move
champions, on to but let's not kill your headline. But defending champion. Just want to say that.
Yeah. We'll see about this year, right?
It's always about this year. You're right. You're right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Right. It's that fun is over. Time for the real guys to step out to the plate now. Ollie's saying, what do you think about? We already spoke about this, and it's already asked.
What is
twice.
This? Deja vu.
Is it twice somehow? Okay.
Fraz likes your cut.
Oh man, appreciate it, bro. Good looking out.
Thank you very much. Warren saying, in regards to the wing back options, mainly, I guess question to Patrick, does he think Ume might be used there, as he was used there a bit last year in under 23s?
I like that, Warren. I'm noticing that they're using him more, even like in a couple of first games this season, in the preseason, they're using him there. I would love it. Listen, there are some very good young players in that 23 or 21 side. Justin Devaney being one of the midfielder, Uma, Mustafa moved up, Hindola Mustafa's moved up there. But yeah, I think that the possibility in a year or two, I don't think he's ready for this year. I would use Emile over him, but I think in the future, 100%, Uma could be an option. He was in the final last year against them in the International Cup final. He played there as a wing back, so we'll see.
Because I think part of developing these kids in the academy and finding what we keep on saying the quote unquote pathway is putting them in positions that can get them to the first team. And it's like, hey man, you're a talented wide player, but if we put you at fullback, you might have a chance to go up to the first team sooner. You know what I mean?
Aaron Wan-Bissaka was a forward winger, and then came back to right back. Exactly right. See, great
part of developing players and bringing them through the academy is deciding, hey man, you're gonna have a lot better chance of playing big time ball if you make this change. You see it a lot. You see a lot of strikers that become defenders. Yeah. Like it happens. Like and if that's the way that Ume's got to get into the first team, I'm sure he's like, yo, let me do this. You know, and they're probably telling him, look what happened with Aaron Wan-Bissaka. He made this switch, got into the first team, and now he went to Man United. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Twist is saying, do you guys prefer versatile or specialist in any given position? I think you'd want to play that's versatile, but most important is about the quality, right? I mean, Kamada is versatile, but I don't think anyone there's no complaints about Kamada, for example. He can play in centre mid, he can play as a number 10. So it's more about quality for me more than
the quality across those positions. Do they have the intangibles to carry across positions? Like Munoz is a really good wide player, but I wouldn't want Munoz as a right winger though. You know what I mean? Like I don't know how you do as a true winger.
But what I'll say, when I used to coach, I actually preferred versatility because I like to change my formations around. And if you have versatile players, you can go from a 4 in the back to 3 at the back to 5 at the back to 2 up top to 1 up top.
Without using subs too.
Especially when
that's a big part. And that's part for us because we're not a big team.
But he's right though. The quality has to be there too, obviously. So
yeah. Spiritual saying, why are the academy players not getting a chance pre-season?
Well, David Ozil got a chance, and Rocksaki's gotten a chance. Those in Teo just played.
Maybe it might be indicating why. I mean, we're going to play one preseason game, so it's a bit.
But they're also in their own. Remember, they're also in their own preseason. They're in their own preseason too. They're getting their matches together and being fit. So I think it's just a matter of, I'm going to be there next week. I'm going to the Wolves game on Wednesday. We just see who comes over on the plane to America because Spiritual. I think whoever goes on that plane will be interesting to see because it gives an indication as to who's getting a chance and who doesn't. But again, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of them have they're doing their own preseason right now. They have a game tomorrow. So they're in their own little bubble with their own little thing. So that's probably mostly. But again, you guys mentioned Ozil got a chance first game. So did Teo came on, etc. So there is.
Does Teo get on the plane now? Now that Sessegnon's gone? I mean, I feel like Teo's got to be on the plane now.
Going out on loan.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, do you wait because you don't you're only going to have Ty if you don't bring him on the plane,
right? But God knows what they actually.
Because Lord knows we probably ain't gonna sign nobody. But
free Schlupp. There you go. I was gonna say
that's not good enough for me. We need to.
Man, Jeffrey Schlupp kind of fat, man. I'm sorry, dude. He ain't like. Every time I see these training pictures, I'm like, dude, look like he about 2 or 3 stones over.
That is wild.
A rough crowd, boy. Rough crowd. I tell you.
I mean, let me not say Jeffrey Schlupp isn't like wingback small anymore. Let me say that, okay?
But for me, I think that Schlupp, Klein, Ward, when they get mentioned. As someone who's a massive advocate of the right back spot before even Glasner came in and talking about signing another right back because Ward and Klein ain't good enough there. As someone on that wavelength, I am not having Schlupp as a left wing back option. He can play there, but technically I can play there as well. And T might be able to play there, and Patrick might be able to play there, and maybe Wharton can play there because they're all footballers, but they're not capable enough to play there. Right. That's the thing. They don't add that real depth option where Tyree can actually think about, or Tyree can actually have a rest and we can say, that's fine, we've got another left wing back option. No, there's a massive downgrade in terms of from Mitchell to the next option. Even right now with Munoz to the next option. And for example, we can trust Eze and France a bit more because, the France can play in Eze's position, or you can have Sarr and Kamada conversations, for example, but we don't have the right wing back and left wing back depth. Where right now we're just fitting in players for the sake of fitting them in there. So yeah.
One of the things about Schlupp that doesn't make me excited about him playing over there is one of the things that we always hear about him, or one of the knocks on him when he's in the match, is he's lazy. And it's like, if that's one of the things that people are seeing from you when you're on the pitch and you're playing, you definitely can't play in a wing back role and be lazy. Like you can't.
Yeah, and especially wing back is important. It's different to left back as well. Like you have to contribute in attack. If you don't, the system it's not as good. Like teams can just you just have to have that width. Otherwise, teams can just be narrow. And then if you don't have that width of genuine quality that can attack, that's why Munoz is very important. And that's why I am asking about this wing-back options, is because I genuinely feel like our system, people talk about Klein and Ward, but Klein and Ward, they cannot offer as much in attack. In fact, I don't trust them to offer anything in particular in attack. And I think that system can collapse just like that. If they just corner down the right-hand side, allow us to have the width, and just saying to Klein and Ward, do something then we'll find out how bad that situation can be. And I don't want to be in that moment. Fingers crossed, Munoz and Mitchell doesn't get injured, but you have to be, especially with the money that we've got, and especially with the position that we're really strong in. It doesn't make any sense to neglect these positions. We might as well strengthen them to make sure we have all of our backs covered next year if we do want to finish top 10 and push for them European spots. Michael saying, I heard that Alicia's sale price was 60, as it's said to be worth 68. How much of that would be available to Dougie after agent fees and the rest of ourselves? No one can actually say the actual figure. But I mean, even with Alicia, it's been mentioned 45 or so and whatever. Let's use worst case scenario. It wasn't 60, it was 45. I mean, we still should have money left in the bank. And on top of that, I mean, we can spend money as well. We should be able to have a bit of money to spend on top as well. We don't have to just use that money. So we should have money. We should have around 25 to 30 million pounds to spend. So if we're talking about left wing back and right wing back, of course, if we sold Edward, would have money there. Money shouldn't be that much of an issue. We should be able to find players with that kind of budget. I know there's more questions, and I honestly wish we can answer them. I normally do, but today we've gone longer than expected. I do have to head off. But if you do have them questions and you want to answer, we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks to every single one of you that sent them through. In fact, let me know if you do really want them answered. Let us know in the live, not live, in the comment section down below, and I'll try to respond to them later on tonight. But thanks to T and Patrick and all of you that joined us today. Ismaila Sarr, here we go. Fingers crossed we have more coming in. Like, subscribe, keep safe, people, and until next time, up the palace.
Up the palace.